Hi, my name is John Miller. I have the best job on earth. See that bee? That bee's been very busy in a flower, and it's just covered with pollen. Pollen is the male part of a flower, and this honeybee is then going to the next flower where it will shed some of the pollen it acquired. And that's how we get seeds, and that's how we get fruit, and that's how we get nuts, and that's how plants seduce bees so they can reproduce. It's an exchange, it's a seduction, it's reproduction. And I have a great part in this exercise, and though orchardists and farmers grow food, the link is the bee. I'm not the link, I just bring the link. We've been keeping bees in America for a very long time, almost 400 years. For 120 of those years, I'm losing my sound mic, for 120 of those years, my family has kept bees. I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble with my mic. For 120 years, my family's kept bees. My great-grandfather, my grandfather, my dad, myself, and Ollie. Ollie's my grandson. I have the best job ever. A lot of the foods we like to eat are made possible by honeybees and the pollination work they do. And that's how I make most of my living in 2014, going from crop to crop, pollinating different fields and orchards, and my great-grandfather made his living selling honey. Things have changed. 40 years ago, my dad first brought bees to an almond orchard in California. It was our first paid pollination work. That's how I make most of my living now. We'll start with the almonds in California, we'll move to the cherries and the apples later in the summer. We'll be on the high plains of North Dakota pollinating canola, sunflowers, buckwheat, and oilseeds. Almond production has soared, but in the meantime, hive populations have dropped almost in half. As our diet has improved and we live longer, healthier lives, bees are living shorter, less healthy lives, and it's because pollination work is very demanding on bees. This is what U.S. colonies look like, and this chart's a little old, but you get the idea that in 1945 we had about 6 million hives, and we have about 2.3 million hives in America now. We're losing our bees. And a lot of it is, a lot of this turbulence, and it is turbulent, these are tumultuous times in beekeeping. A lot of this is a result of three primary factors, and I'll go into those a little bit, and then we'll discuss a solution that I think might bear fruit. Just seeing if anybody's still awake. The first issue is pasture, and I've just gone over some of the issues with pasture and the bees' inability to find enough forage, enough good pasture. And I don't know how you think about bees, but when a honeybee alights from the hive and goes flying across your backyard, buzzing through the neighborhood and the village and the fields of America, she's grocery shopping. Grocery shopping. And she gathers nectar and she gathers pollen and brings it back to the hive. It's all flown back to the hive where it's stored, and then later that pollen and nectar will be fed to a baby bee sister whom she will never meet. And this baby bee sister is just vital to our food supply. We need to take better care of our baby bees because they're not getting enough of this natural pollen. So I have responded to the need, this deficit, this need of the hive with what's called a pollen paddy. This is a pollen patty. It's about a 1-pound slab of brewer's yeast and sugar and vegetable oil. And it tastes pretty good, actually. But it's no substitute for pure pollen. It's no substitute for what bees have been gathering here for 400 years. And even though there are people in this room, students at this institution, who have proven that you may live on top ramen and Bud Light, eventually it's not going to sustain them. And though I take pollen patties to my hives between fits of pollination, pasture remains a real issue in this country. We have too many acres under the plow, not enough acres in conservation. Oh, look at that. There's no pollinator on this planet that can outrun that plane. Occasionally, when my bees fly grocery shopping, they'll cross a field that's been sprayed. We're not real good at pesticide use in this country. In fact, we're just terrible at it. Because when a field is sprayed, it kills the bugs. It kills the bad bugs, but it kills all the good bugs too. I usually learn this once or twice a year. A honeybee learns it once. And the reason I can get a picture of these bees after they've been sprayed is because a honeybee will try to get home, but it's impaired, it's suffering neurological damage because it's been sprayed with a pesticide, and when it gets back to the hive and it tries to get into the hive, the guards at the front of the hive won't let them in the hive, and so they perish in front of the hive because they won't let contaminated bees into the hive. Pesticides kill bugs, all the bugs, good bugs and bad bugs, and that's the second thing. So the first thing is pasture and not enough, and the second thing is pesticides and too much. And if I could give Oliver, my grandson, a blessing, if I could give him a gift, I would give him a world with dramatically lower pesticide use. But my village likes to eat flawless fruit and perfect succulent berries and carrot seed from flawless seed and pumpkins that are delicious. And so we have pesticides. The third thing, this is great. We have a parasite in our bees. It's called Varroa destructor. See those ticks? Those are ticks, and they're just like a tick. Varroa destructor arrived in North America in about 1987, and it kills honeybee adults and honeybee children, and it is a dirty needle. Varroa mites vector diseases into bees like mosquitoes do to us. It's really hard to kill a bug on a bug. If we don't, we're going to lose our bees. We have to find a way to address this pest, and I think there are ways of doing it, but I'm probably going to be gone in 20 years. And so in 20 years, if I ask you to think about something, because bees are the link to our food, where are we going to be with food in 20 years? Will we enjoy the abundance and the diversity of food that we enjoy now? Will there be bees? We have some issues. Managed honeybee colony losses in the United States for about the past 7 or 8 years. This is kind of new. This is kind of different. And I'm as the gatekeeper of the food supply, I'm being buffeted by this, and I'm not good at it because we're losing about 25% of the national herd every winter. Every winter we lose. Like if I had 4 children and one died each winter, on the 5th year I would have no children. And so each year we make baby beehives from our parent hives, and we make thousands of them and thousands of them. And the day's going to come when I'm going to be unable to sustain this. And that's the word that bee guys are getting familiar with. It's like, this is unsustainable. We need another path. Meet Project APIS M. Project APIS M is a nonprofit. They fund bee research, but they also provide seeds. Seeds, wildflower seeds, to plant a meadow. I see there's a turf project. You've got a turf project going 1 block down here. Instead of turf, what if we planted seeds? What if we planted some California poppies and some blue eyes, California bluebells, some crimson clover, and some alyssum? What if we had a meadow instead of a perfectly manicured lawn? That would provide forage for the bees. Safe forage, healthy forage. This is my forage plant. We planted it last year, and the bees loved it. It's mustard, it's rapini, it's some vetch. The neighbor's cow loved it. And we're planting it again this year. This is good forage for bees. It's healthy. It's a place they can get good nutrition to rebuild their hive. Can we help? Can the people in this hall make a difference? Sure, you can make a difference. This is a little group of volunteers from Lincoln, California, on a piece of land. And Justin Wages is the land manager for the land trust where these plants, trees, and shrubs were placed. And it made a difference, and my bees found it, and they thrived. Now, later today, you're going down to the grocery store, and you're going to see shelves groaning with food, and you're going to say, oh, fat boy Johnny just made this whole crisis up. Look at all this food. I am the gatekeeper. My son is the gatekeeper for your child's village. And though the bees will be unable to thank you, I will thank you. Thank you.